Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Williamson County Sports Connection. I'm Jack Daniels, your host, and with me for today's show is the girls' head soccer coach at Franklin High School, Coach Jimmy Burchett. Coach, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Well, I know that you've been at Franklin for a few years. Just how long have you been at Franklin, Coach?
We started my 17th year.
17th year. Now, you're not with the school system as a teacher, though, are you?
That's correct. I was back in my early days.
Right.
Yeah, back in the 70s and 80s, whatever. So, yeah. But I came back and started coaching there in 97.
Okay.
I had kids that played there, 3 girls that played at Franklin from 86 to 93. So,
Okay.
and then when Coach Schrader decided to retire from coaching, then Mr. Crozier called on me if I'd asked if I would fill in or take the job over, and I was happy to do it.
Well, good.
Been there ever since.
97 is when I came to Williamson County. I went to Brentwood High School in 1997. So you and I both started about that same time, but you've lasted longer than me.
You're smart. You're smarter than me.
No, I wouldn't say that for sure. But let's talk about last year's team and tell everybody about the successes that team had.
Well, we were in really good shape till the end of the year. I think we peaked too quick. Maybe I don't know really what happened. We were I don't know whether you remember or not, but 2 years ago we were undefeated and ranked number 1 and whatever, and supposed to have been a down year for us last year because we lost so many players. But after the majority of the season, we were 16-0, and we played Independence the week before the season was over, and we beat them 5-1. So I think our girls went into the district a little overconfident because we caught them the first game of the district tournament, and they beat us 1-0. They had a great game plan. Coach David Cadera and Sarah DeFada put together a really good plan, and they were fortunate enough to get an early goal and held on to it. And can't say that we panicked or we were in shock. I don't know what it was. We just kind of went into a scoring lull, and we ended up losing. We did have a rule in our district where the regular season champion goes on to regional and sectional.
And I like that rule. I think it definitely all rewards your regular season champ.
Correct. So we did get a chance to go on, and then Brentwood beat us in the finals of the region 3-1, and then we lost to Clarksville 2-1 up in the sectional. So we didn't make it out of the sectional like we had hoped to do.
Right.
But we had a great year, and we've got a lot of these players back. In fact, we lost 3 seniors and lost a couple that transferred to another school, but we've got a real good freshman class coming in and some transfers that have moved in. So we feel like we're in a good shape for this year.
Well, now I'm going to show my ignorance here. I don't know a whole lot about soccer, but when you were talking about a good game plan against you when they played you in the district tournament, Independence, is there a time limit? In other words, the ball, does it have to cross mid-court by a certain time? Like in basketball, you got 10 seconds to get the ball past half court.
No, it doesn't.
So they could keep the ball in their end down there and just sink everybody in on the goal, and just all 10 of them or 11 of them down there, and just kick it out and let you go get it and come back in?
Basically, that's correct.
Does anybody do that to you like that?
Actually, that's what happened.
That's what. Say, I knew more about soccer than what I thought.
That's right. There you go. But no, it wasn't a total what I'd call packed-in defense, but it was a formation that really concentrated on defending more than trying to score. And once they got the go, then they could even exaggerate that formation and put more people back on defense, and so. It worked, and the kids, their kids. I mean, I give them credit for what they did. I mean, they played a superb game, perfect game, and so my hats was off to them for the win. But
so if a team does that, where they got all their players and 11 players, right? The goalie and
10.
You're right.
Goalie and 10.
Goalie and 10 back in their end. And if you moved all your players past the midline into that area to try to score, then they could get a quick breakaway on you or something.
Exactly. So so it's a fine balance there as to how you try to attack that kind of a formation. Of course, later in the game as it goes,
sure,
you might as well, if you're behind 2-1 or something, or 1-0 in this case, you might as well lose 2-0 as 1-0.
Sure.
So you do start gambling and you start pushing more people forward. But
Right.
but that's technical. You've got the tactics down pretty good.
I remember
But
this.
we better look at you. May be a soccer coach in a couple of years.
Hey, believe it or not, I did coach 1 year as an assistant soccer coach back in the early 80s at Halls High School in Knoxville. But the rule that I didn't like was offsides. I didn't like that rule. Keeps you from scoring too much.
Yeah.
I like those 11-10 games,
Like
Coach.
snowbirding situation, like in basketball, where you can just go.
I'll be able to just have somebody down there and kick it to them and let them score.
Exactly.
Get the points up there. Well, let's talk a little bit about your assistant coaches. Who's helping you this year?
Well, we're fortunate to have Allie Eisnagel as our assistant coach. Right, she's the only one that I've got for the time being.
Okay.
We're still possibly could have another one that the parents would pay for if we needed to do that. But right now it's just going to be the two of us. And Allie is a Franklin hometown girl. She had a sister that played for me a few years ago, and then she played at Independence.
Okay.
And then went on and played at Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee.
All right.
So we feel excited and fortunate that Allie's back in town and is going to be able to help us. I think it's going to be a tremendous asset to me and the team and our players to have somebody with her caliber there. So
my son actually is at Lee. He graduated from there and works there now. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, that's kind of
small world.
It is a small world. Definitely is a small world. As far as, I guess, the number of girls that you keep on a team, Coach, I mean, do you have to have tryouts?
Yep.
And then, so how many do you keep?
Well, again, because if we just kind of think that there's going to be two of us.
Okay.
And you've got a varsity team and a junior varsity team. So my magic number is 40. I don't want to go any more than 40. Then that would be like 20 for the varsity and 20 for the junior varsity. Although sometimes it works out where you've got more like 22 varsity players and 18 or 17 or 16 junior varsity players. So somewhere between 35 and 40 is the magic number for us. It works the best for us. And we practice together. So, if you get more than 40 players out on the field, on our size field, it's hard to handle that many people out there if you're doing full field work. There's a lot of people standing as it is, but that's the best numbers for us. And we do, we'll have anywhere from 45 to 55 girls come out for our team. So unfortunately, that's one of the worst parts of being a soccer coach, especially here in this county. And I'm sure Brentwood and Ravenwood and some of these other schools have the same problem. True. Where so many girls are playing soccer nowadays that you get those numbers come out and you can't handle that many kids. Right. So that's the number. 35 to 40 is usually what we keep. We got 37 now that we've kept. So. And
I'd say probably almost, if most of those girls, if not all, probably play some kind of travel soccer.
Most all of them have.
In the off season,
yep.
They keep. How long can they continue to play that, Coach? Because there's tournaments going on probably right now, or two during the holidays.
We do have some girls that are playing in a national tournament. Their team won the regional tournament for the second year in a row, and are playing in a national tournament, which is toward the end of July. Okay. But the rest of those teams they either got beat or didn't go to region. Right. But and so they're doing probably ID camps is what they're called now. Some of the colleges will have kids come in that they've identified players that they want to take another look at. So they come in and watch them closer under their guidelines, at their school. Or they have ODP camps that they go to, other college camps that some of their players may go to. So for the most part, the summer we've got most of the players back during the summer to do some work, and we do mostly strength conditioning during this time. Okay, all right. So those kids that are participating in the travel type soccer leagues, when you get to the point where you turn in your eligibility to TWSAA, then all that has to stop. That has to stop, right. And they're through by the 1st of August, and that's when our season officially begins. Right. And so that's when we don't turn our roster in until after the 1st of August. So, right. And so they can play up until that point. Right. Exactly. Well, as far as this year in this district's changed a little bit, hasn't it? It has changed a little bit. Hillsborough, who's been in our district for several years, they dropped out and went into just the Metro District, which is the best scenario for them.
Mm-hmm.
And we added Dixon County, moved into ours, and then Summit has moved up from AA division into the AAA division that we're in. So we've Dixon County and Summit have added to the other Williamson County schools, Ravenwood, Brentwood, Centennial, and Independence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our new district. So
How many dates does TAA give you to play matches? I mean, how many matches are the maximum number can you have?
We have 16 scheduled games.
Okay.
We can schedule 16 games, and a tournament counts as 2 games.
Okay.
So if you go to somewhere like we go to Hendersonville Labor Day weekend, and we'll play 3 games, but it only counts as 2.
Only 2.
And you can only do 2 of those tournaments a year. So you could technically have 18 games normally, but you schedule 16.
16.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you outside the district now. Do you guys play like home and away in soccer? Or you just play them one time?
Just one time.
Just one time. So you play a lot of non-district games then.
Correct.
Talk about some of those teams, Coach, that you're going to be playing this year.
Okay. Well, we may have bitten off a little more than we can chew, but we think we're going to find out a little bit about our team pretty early. Oak Ridge and Farragut are usually 2 of the stronger teams out of the East.
Right.
Farragut for the last 2 years have been beaten by us and Brentwood in the finals. And they have, the majority of their players are back. So they are going to be a very tough team this year. And we're going to Oak Ridge and play them on Saturday, August the 24th, and then play Farragut on the 25th.
Oh, early in the season.
Early in the year. So we're going to play those real quick. And then we'll turn around the next weekend and go to Hendersonville and play Collierville, who is always one of the stronger teams in the West, Siegel, who is one of the stronger teams in Middle Tennessee, and Science Hill, who's been to the state tournament a couple of years out of the East. They would play those 3 teams in Hendersonville. And then, if that wasn't enough,
that sounds pretty tough right there, Coach.
Yep, Burchett, he
did a good job scheduling.
He did a good job this year. We've got 3 teams from the D.C. area, Washington, D.C. area, that are coming to play us, Brentwood, and Siegel.
Oh.
2 of these teams are perennial powers. They're always ranked in the top 10 or 15 of the country during their season. And soccer is kind of broken up because some girls' teams play in the fall and some play in the spring. So the fall season, they're one of the teams that are always ranked in the top 10 or 15. And that's Bishop O'Connell. They're out of Virginia, and we play them on September the 12th at our place. And so I'm giving this out, hoping that anyone that might be watching this or listening to to a broadcast,
sure,
if they want to see some really good teams play against who I think is some really good teams, these will be good games to come see. Then Brentwood will play Good Counsel, Our Lady of Good Counsel, out of Maryland on Friday, September the 13th at Brentwood. And then we play Good Counsel Saturday afternoon at 2, and Brentwood plays a team called St. John's College High School, and they're from Washington.
Okay.
And they played them Saturday afternoon as well. And then Siegel is playing a couple of these teams at one is at our place and one is at Siegel. But those games with Brentwood and Franklin will be really good games for our local people to come watch and play. That would be really good games.
Right. And so all 3 of these schools are private schools.
They're all
from
they're
that
all
area.
Catholic. They're all Catholic private schools.
And again, you said that they're usually always ranked in the top 10 teams in the country.
And one thing that really makes them very tough is that they can play these teams in their travel as club teams. So they play basically year-round together. So that's another reason why.
That's an unfair advantage.
That's kind of unfair. But it's good competition, and it really sees where we stand with them. So,
do they get to play in a state championship in their own states?
Yes.
They do? Okay.
Yes.
Well.
Yes, they do.
Well, as far as early in the season there, Coach, I mean, I'm telling you, with Farragut, Oak Ridge, and Collierville, and then now these teams out of the D.C. area, you're going to know what kind of team you've got before you get to the
I hope we
district
have
tournament.
enough. I hope we have enough bodies left to finish the year.
Well, it goes back to you keep 22 of them. They're going to get all of them probably get a lot of work during that time.
That's correct. That's correct.
Well, Coach, do you ever see a situation where it's about philosophy a little bit for you? Because I know being successful as you have been, that what's that point in the game where you call the dogs off? I used to say, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is that for you in soccer?
I think once you have a team 4 or 5 down, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
And we have unfortunately beaten other teams worse than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a good situation for either team because we get in bad habits. And I mean, all the players want to do, I mean, we have defenders that making runs, trying to score goals and that type of thing. And they just get out of their game, basically. So it's not good for us, and it's not good for those other teams that getting beat like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we make, when we see that the situation is starting to develop, and it usually happens pretty early in the first half,
right,
we start making a lot of substitutions. And again, it's not really fair for our other players because they're losing a game. So again, I'd rather be playing the Farragut's and the Bishop O'Connells than I had the Hillsboroughs and the Overtons, and no disrespect to them.
I understand.
It's just that they're in an area where their girls do not play as much travel as
Sure.
and they just don't have the experienced players that we do. So we try to schedule more games comparable to what our level is.
Right. I would think too, being as successful as your program has, sometimes it may be difficult to get teams to play you.
It is.
Around there, and you've got to go, from the east and the west, and those different areas to get good teams to come in, or you may have to travel, with your girls to those different places.
You're very perceptive.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this year's group of girls. How many seniors are you going to have on the team, and as you can think you're going to have, and that kind of thing, Coach?
We've got 8 seniors.
Okay.
That we're having coming back. We've got all of our defenders are back. We've got 5 senior defenders. So, and we usually play 4, start 4. So we've got 5. So I think we're solid defenders. We've got a really good freshman class of defenders that are coming in. So for the next 2 or 3 years, we've got our defense in pretty good shape. We've got both our our 2 top scorers, Liza Harbin and Meredith Slessman, were our number 1 and number 2 scorers from a year ago. Both of those girls are back.
Okay.
And we did lose Lindy Donegan, who was if she wasn't, I can't remember, I meant to look this up, but she was one of the school's top assist leaders, career. If not first, she's second. And I don't remember. I know that she was at one time pushing to be the top, and I don't remember because I think we lost this last game or 2, and she didn't get to finish. I mean, we didn't get to play as normal number of games we play. I think she ended up number 2 on the all-time. We lost her as a senior. We lost one of our goalkeepers, and we lost a solid midfield player. Is our losses from last year. So we feel pretty good about the returning players and who we've got coming in and for our success, and that's one reason why I kind of schedule this.
Schedule heavy.
Just to see where we are.
Now, is Brentwood in that same boat? Do they have a lot of kids coming back?
He lost 2 or 3 what I call really good leaders and players on his team. He may be this year in the position that I'm going to be in next year.
Okay.
Although he has some solid players coming back. I know he's got one really good offensive player and a couple of really good midfield players and a good defender. So he's going to have a lot. He's going to have a lot to build around. He's going to have some good players to build around. I don't know whether he's got the depth. I just haven't followed those girls that much to know if they've got that depth. But knowing Brentwood, they will come up with a good team. They'll have a good team.
Who else in your district, Coach, is going to be contending there for the district championship?
I think Ravenwood will be as well. A lot of those girls play, in the TSC, in the club programs or whatever. So they've got a new coach as well, and he will He will do well there. He's got a good group to work with, solid goalkeeping, and again, it's kind of what you like. You've got one or two really good forwards and a good midfield and a solid defense. And if you got a good goalkeeper, then you're going to be hard to beat. Perennially, Williamson County, I think, is known across the state as the toughest district in the state. And I think it's going to be as much that way this year. Centennial is building. They're getting some really good players in over there. They came on strong toward the end of last year. And, of course, Independence, who beat us in the district, the way they came on last year, they're going to have a lot of good players coming back. So I can see this really being a 4 or 5 team race in our district this year. It's not going to be a runaway, I don't think, not by any stretch.
And you substituted Hillsborough. You got Dixon County. You know anything about Dixon County?
They played Independence and Summit last year.
Okay.
And I believe Dixon County beat Summit, but I think Independence beat them.
Okay.
But they will be better than Hillwood. They'll be better than Hillwood. I mean, Hillsborough.
Right.
They'll be better than Hillsborough for sure. So.
And Summit's a young team. They got everybody back because
Right.
they just have their first senior classes next year. And
Right.
I know that if you got the same group together there for 3 years in a row, you're going to get better and be competitive as you move up through the ranks. As far as outside of our district, you mentioned a couple of teams as far as Oak Ridge and Farragut and Collierville. What other teams are kind of there every year at the state tournament?
Well, Knoxville-Bearden,
Okay.
it comes out of Knoxville, is usually one of the stronger teams out of that Knoxville area. And Germantown-Houston is usually the top team out of Memphis. Although last year, team Arlington High School is a relatively new school. They came out with Houston last year. They beat Collierville out last year to come to the state. And we've played them a couple of years ago with a new coach, and he was building a program and whatever. So his groundwork is paying off because, like I said, he came on very strong toward the end of last year and ended up coming to the state tournament. So I don't remember how many players he's got coming back, but he could be a force in from the western part of the state. The other teams in Middle Tennessee, Clarksville is again, it beat us and went on to state tournament. They've got all of their players back for the most part, so they're going to be really good again this year. Hendersonville is always good. Beach High School is good. Siegel, who's also playing with this group that we're coming in, they're probably the best out of Rutherford County will be for this year. And usually either Riverdale or Oakland out of that area, and Smyrna, kind of the ones that kind of alternate as the other team in that district that come out of there. So that's kind of where it is right here in Middle Tennessee. So.
Now, do you think you'll have a difficult time getting the girls motivated for the Independence game?
No. No, I don't think that'll be a problem at all.
You have a circle on your calendar already, Coach, when
No.
that game is?
No, not really. Our girls, I think their main focus is that state tournament, and I think every game will be focused. They'll be focused on just getting better every game. At least I hope that's the way it is. I've heard them talking, so I think that's their plan. Their focus is to go all the way this year. So,
how do you do your captains, Coach? Do you pick them before the season starts?
I have the players do it. I let
Okay.
the players. It's generally a senior. If I feel like that we have seniors that are qualified to be leaders and have demonstrated leadership over the last 3 or 4 years, I kind of let the girls pick who it is.
Okay.
And depending on the numbers, it kind of depends on the number of seniors I've got. If like last year we only had 3 seniors, so I just made them tri-captains. We didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I thought all of them were good candidates, so I just made all 3. Sometimes if we have 5 or 6 seniors, I'll just use 2. This next year, because we've got 8, I'll go back to the 3 again, and we'll probably have 3 tri-captains for next year or this year.
Well, when the captains have a captains meeting with the officials out there prior to the game start and everything, what are they deciding in that meeting? I mean, who goes left and who goes right? I mean, what is that?
The head official, the center ref, usually is just telling them that they're in charge of their team and to take care of their team, and what he's expecting out of keeping the equipment in place, the socks pulled up and shin guards on and shirt tails tucked in and that kind of stuff, and that for them to be in charge of their team, and that's about it. Mm-hmm. It's no big deal. And they do have a coin toss to see who's going to kick off first,
right? And
who wants one end of the field, right? Like a football game.
Sure. Now, do you have any kind of fundraisers going on that you'd like to let everybody know about?
Well, it's probably a little late, but if not, I mean, we'll take anybody. We do have one that's on this coming Monday. Mm-hmm. It's a golf outing, and it's at Temple Hills. They can contact me, or someone at the school can put them in touch with me.
Sure. We
do have a golf. Well, our parents take care of this. Mm-hmm. It's basically a fundraiser for the parents. And it's like I said, it's at Temple Hills Monday at 8 o'clock. Shotguns start at 8 o'clock. It's $100 a piece, which is very reasonable for fundraising golf tournaments. If anybody's ever played in them before, they know that sometimes there can be $250, $225 a piece. This is $100. We just want people to come back and play.
Right.
And we solicit sponsorships for the tournament as well as for the rest of the year too.
Right. Well, we're just talking about July the 15th, in which this show will air before July the 15th, as far as that. So somebody may see the show and actually, sign up for your golf tournament.
Good.
The aspect, Coach, as far as going into your first game, what's your main focus with your kids?
We pick out one aspect of the game that we focus on the first part of the season. And this year it's going to be team defending.
Okay.
And that will be what our focus will be at camp and our first few scrimmage games that we play, and I'm sure the first 2 or 3 games that we play during the season is how well we have learned team defending. And that would be the main focus for this year.
Well, Coach, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. And everybody put those dates down. September the 12th, we want to come out and watch some great competition from the D.C. area coming into Franklin. This has been the Williamson County Sports Connection. I'm Jack Daniels, your host.
When sharing the road, reaction time is important. Motorists should reduce their speed and avoid tailgating, especially in bad weather. When passing, they should leave at least 3 feet between their vehicle and the cyclist. Cyclists have the same rights and responsibilities as motorists. They should travel in the same direction on the right hand of the road and obey all traffic signals. Responsible cyclists care about the image they portray and are courteous to others with whom they share the road. Staying alert, sharing the road, and obeying traffic signals. Observing these rules provides predictability for both motorists and cyclists. Remember, same roads, same rules, same rights.
What the? What? I should have thrown you away? Okay, I'm sorry.